whatever you do, don't buy a TV until you watch this video. Now, we're going to go over the different types of TVs that we have learned over the years, and also talk about the different price points and what each individual type of TV panel is actually capable of. And we're going to show you some different like screenshots, pictures, and whatnot as to what each individual TV is like laid out with the pixel layout and all that. One thing I am going to, however, say is do not buy an 8K TV as of right now. They're still really expensive, and TCL, Sony, and I think even LG has actually opted out from making 8K TVs this year in 2025, and that only leaves Samsung as the only brand that's making them. But also, Ratings.com actually just did a review of Samsung's top-of-the-line 8K TV for 2025, the 990 series, and it did not look all that great. And especially for gaming, it just was not good for gaming whatsoever. But do not buy an 8K TV. Now, let's actually show you the different types of the TVs and explain what they are. Alright, so the first TV that we're going to show you with its sub-pixel layout is a regular WOLED. So this is the picture that we got right here, and you could probably see some other pictures just as well from the photos list here on Google. But the picture that we have pulled up right here on the right, this is a WOLED sub-pixel type of panel. So this is basically your traditional OLED that you get with like LG and some of Sony's OLED TV displays and whatnot, and even a lower end Samsung OLED. But if we're going to get even better, here's what a QD OLED looks. So just by looking at these pictures, like, you can tell the difference just by looking at these OLEDs. You can just tell by looking at the sub-pixel layout, like, wow, that is definitely going to be much brighter and more colorful. And you will notice that even more when you see the TVs side by side. So yeah, this is a WOLED, and this is a QD OLED. So QD OLED, in my personal opinion, is definitely the best TV type of panel out there in terms of like clarity, brightness, and just the overall colors. And if you're especially a gamer, you will absolutely appreciate a QD OLED over a traditional WOLED, because your games are just going to look more vivid, more punchy, and the HDR highlights, I think, are the best on a QD OLED over most other TVs out there, including LEDs. But there have been some good LED TVs that, like, TCL has made with really good punchy HDR highlights, but it still does not beat what a QD OLED has. Now, the next one we're going to go down to is a mini LED sub-pixel layout. So right here is a sub-pixel layout of a mini LED's, like, you know, panel and whatnot. It looks good for the most part. You're going to still get very good vibrant colors, but when you like compare it to like this, you can definitely see that a QD OLED is just going to give you better colors and whatnot. But yeah, this absolutely is still going to look good, and a lot of people might actually prefer a mini LED because it is a lot more affordable than even a WOLED, for an example. Like, especially if you get something like a TCL or a Hisense mini LED, you can get something like a 6 series or a 7 series that is just not going to break the bank in your pocket, so you'll still get a nice quality TV and whatnot. And then next on we're going to move over to is between full array and mini LED. So you can still get a full array, and it will be somewhat cheaper than a mini LED, but mini LED is starting to take over most of like just like LED TVs in general. Now, the only way you're going to get a full array is most likely if you go for like a budget or like a second low-end budget TV from like Walmart or something. But if you was to go to like Best Buy or go to order off Amazon, most of the time you're going to get a very, very good like mini LED TV. Even if you get the budget mini LED, it's still going to give you better brightness, better contrast, and all that. And this is really the big difference on how you can tell how much better that mini LED is over a full array. So full arrays usually have a lot more local dimming zones than what this picture shows. Usually they can go up to like close to 100 to like a few hundred. Whereas mini LED, as you look at this one, there's a lot more tinier dimming zones, a lot more like LEDs in the back to give you that nice contrast in each individual area. Like each individual dot that's on this mini LED is a boost in contrast in those particular spots. So when you look at that, you're going to get way better contrast on a mini LED than you will with a full array, because if you look here, you're going to get some blooming. I mean, you can even tell by this picture right here, like you can tell how much that the black is raising with every single, dot on here going to the next dot. But with this one, it's going to be a lot better, and because of that better contrast, you're just going to get better brightness than what you will get. So down here, we're going to actually look at some of the TVs right here. This is a mini LED Samsung QN90C. This TV is no longer available because this was a 2023 edition. I honestly think that the QN90D is definitely going to be your best bet. If you want a premium brand type of TV that's mini LED, that's going to give you some nice brightness, I definitely would look at the Samsung S, or not S, I was going to say their S90D, the TV we have. Look at the QN90D, that's going to give you really nice, like, just picture in general. But a lot of the TVs look absolutely great, but this is what you're going to be getting. WOLED is still going to be the best overall TV out there, like the second best, honestly. Like, I mean, OLED is just in general, it's just going to give you the best picture ever. Now, if you're somebody that has just a couple windows, and then, of course, that you're seeing in our gaming room, we have our windows basically, like, covered up, an OLED is going to be perfect for you. Like, you're going to still experience brightness because of you blocking your windows. And even then, QD OLED, even if you have just a couple windows in your room, a QD OLED is still going to be bright enough to give you some nice, really good brightness, colors, and all that. But if you have like several different windows, like in your house, like you have a ton of light coming in, then an OLED is just not going to be for you. Maybe a QD OLED at most, but an OLED just in general just is not going to be perfect for you because of the brightness that you lose. Whereas with a mini LED TV like this, like you're just going to get way better brightness and just overall, better brightness and whatnot. That's just pretty much what you're going to get. Now, I'm actually going to pull up some of the best LED TVs right now that you can get right now that is at a very good price point. I spelled that actually wrong. I'm holding the one button down. So right now, this TV is a pretty good sale right now. So right now, you can get a 55-inch or a 65-inch, however, last year's Hisense UAN for only $950. That's less than $1,000, and that is their top-tier flagship TV from 2024. But even better, you can even get a 75-inch right here for $1,100. That is a huge, huge deal. I absolutely would recommend that. But this is definitely the one I would recommend because most people ain't going to have super huge living rooms, but there are going to be some. That's where I would say the 75-inch is worth the price. But if you just want a decent size big screen, but not super, super big, 65-inch size is the only size I personally get just because I just can't carry too much bigger TVs than that. And really, I think 65-inch is just really big enough for us. But then, this is what the 65-inch size cost is $950, and that's a huge, huge deal. Now we're going to look up last year's TCL. I know I accidentally typed freaking that one. And last year's TCL QM8 is still available as of right now, and it is on sale for $900, so $50 cheaper than the Hisense U8N. So this is absolutely one I would recommend absolutely getting. This is their newest one of the same model for 2025, and it is still actually a bit up in price. I expect this TV will eventually go down to like $1,200-$1,300 at minimum. Probably I would say around Black Friday, because this TV actually did just come out like a few weeks ago. So I would absolutely get last year's QM8 51G instead for $900 for the 65-inch size. But even better than the 65-inch QM8K, you can actually get an 85-inch, a huge screen size, for literally almost the same price, except $100 cheaper. So you can get an 85-inch TCL QM8 from last year that's still going to look gorgeous and still going to look very good. You can get it in a big size cheaper than a 65-inch current QM8K. But there's also one that I would recommend that I got just a few weeks ago, and that is the TCL QM7. This is actually like the best bang for your buck for a mini LED TV, and I think TCL is a better brand in general. And I just showed you these TVs. I just realized, like, with my webcam in the way. But I'll actually just pull the TVs up for you real quick. But yeah, this is the QM8 that I was talking about, and as you can see, it's just literally $900 for the 65-inch. So we're going to go back, and then we're going to show you this one. And this is the same model, same year and everything, but this is just the 85-inch, and right now you can get it literally for like $1,700. That is a huge, huge sale, and it definitely looks like it has feet instead of a center stand. So with this particular one, you're probably going to have to get like a wider like shelf or whatever. You're going to have a wider whatever. Unless you're mounting the TV, then the feet is not going to be no problem. So now we're going to go ahead and show you this one. And this is the one that I was just mentioning that you just seen, the QM7 last year. It actually really does good. Like, I'm telling you, like, you're still going to get really nice colors. The local dimming on this one is absolutely still really incredible, so you're going to get really good deep blacks with this TV. And this particular size, the one we have that we have pulled up right now, this size I think has around 1,248 local dimming zones, which is actually a lot. So that's going to really, really shine a lot for you. So definitely look at this one if you're a little bit on a tight budget, because I will let you know, this particular one, you will not be disappointed with the price that you pay. $700 for a really nice premium TV that's not quite, you know, top of the line, but it's not far off. This is definitely the one I would recommend if you're on a tight budget. So yeah, look at the TCL QM7, because that one is going to be really nice. But those are some of the TVs. Now I'm going to actually pull up, and this is another one that I'm actually not going to recommend a whole lot. But here is the Sony X90L, Bravia X90L. This one I absolutely own as well, and as you can see from what the bottom part of the screen says, this one is just a full array local dimming TV. Now, this one's not bad by any means, but compared to those mini LEDs that we just showed you, for pretty much a similar, if not same price, you'll just be better off getting, from compared to this to the TCL QM8 last year, you're just going to get a better TV for the same price, for the same size as you would with the Sony full array X90L. But you can get what we showed you, the TCL QM7, that's going to be $200 cheaper than this, and it's going to still even look better. But if you're just a brand loyalty type of person and you don't really care about what kind of specs it has, as long as it just looks clean, has good colors, and looks bright and punchy, and you know you're a Sony brand kind of loyalty person, then I would definitely recommend getting the Sony Bravia XR X90L, as it's not going to be a mini LED TV, it's just going to be a full array, but the clarity, as for Sony's processing, is usually the top notch out of all the brands. This one's actually going to be just like as if you were getting like a top of the line Sony TV, like the Bravia 9 for an example. It's still going to have the same processing as the Bravia 9. Not the same local dimming, contrast, or anything like that, but when it comes to the processing of getting the cleanest looking image, this one is still another one that I would recommend. And honestly, the X90L, to me, was a huge step up over the previous one, the X90K from 2022. And I think the X90L did a fabulous job. You had a huge boost in brightness. The colors actually did look a lot more vibrant than they did on the X90K, even though they looked fairly fantastic, is what I'm trying to say, on the X90K. But they definitely are a lot more, vibrant and lifelike on the X90L. They're definitely a lot more better. But the only TVs I would definitely not recommend getting is like the LG mini LED ones, except for like maybe the top of the line one. But another one, we're going to pull up one more here, and this is we're going to look up something like the QN80. So this is the QN80 TV. Actually, I think, hold on a second, we need to look up the Q80D instead. That's what we need to look up. So, actually not a bad price for Samsung's I keep freaking like mumbling here. But not a bad price for like Samsung's Q80D, wherever the heck it is. I don't know why. I just typed it in and it's not popping up exactly that TV, so I don't know why. It's just not working. But let's type it up like this. But here is the 85-inch Q80D. Honestly, that's a pretty good price, actually, if you ask me, for an 85-inch. But I'm trying to look for the 75 and the 65-inch size because I don't know why it's not literally popping up anywhere. That's also a good price for the Q60D, but I would definitely not recommend getting that one. Here, I'm just going to pop it up on Best Buy because it seems like it doesn't want to pop up on Google. So we're going to pop up the Q80D on here. Okay. Actually, now I take that back. It looks to be like the 75 and 65-inch size of this model is not available no more. Is only available in open box. The only size is an 85-inch, although that's $100 more than what that said on Google, but that's still a very, very good price for especially a Samsung QLED TV. That's definitely a good price for the size that you get, and a decent Samsung QLED that's going to still look very, very vibrant and whatnot. But the Q70 is the only ones I would never recommend because they are edge-lit. Because what edge-lit is basically just LEDs around the entire screen only and not throughout the whole screen. It's just on the edge of the screen. Full array is basically like I shared you, where it's like 100 local dimming zones, whereas mini LED is going to have thousands. But honestly, if you're like a brand loyalty, like I said with the Sony, the X90L is the one that I would recommend, to where you're not having to pay high price points, but you're also not getting a cheaper budget TV, but you're somewhere in between that's going to just give you a nice picture. But this is the one I would also recommend for a Samsung, but it's not available, so we'll look at the next one up, and I think that one may actually still be available too. But this is going to be the QN85D, and as if it loads up, and yes, that one is still available right now, and it's actually a pretty good price too. So $1,200 for a Samsung mini LED that's going to look even better than the Q80D, that's definitely a good deal. And then right here, this is actually even better than I think the 85-inch Q80D. you can get a 75-inch QN85D mini LED set for $1,300. Basically the same price that we paid for our QD OLED S90D, our 65-inch QD OLED that we just paid like a month ago. And that's what we're going to pull up next to look at the price points of those. So we're going to pull up Samsung S90D. If it's the same price, I'd be shocked. And yes, it is. So you can get a 55-inch S90D for $1,100, and then pretty much the same size that we have, almost pretty much the same price that we paid, $1,300 with tax. I know it's a little bit more. It's a little bit of an odd price point that they have for this particular model, and yeah, it's definitely a little bit odd. But now we're going to look up the LG B4, because this is probably the best bang for your buck for an OLED TV. And actually, no, I actually lied. It's actually not. So the B4 is honestly the one that I would recommend if this TV was only at $1,100 or $1,000. Personally, we got ours for $1,100, and well, we technically got our first one for $1,200, and then our second one for just $1,000 last month. But this one actually kind of does shock me that it's not actually on sale with the new model that's out. So we'll look at the next one up, which is probably going to be better. I actually typed C3 and I bet C4. So we'll look at the C4, because that one's been on a good price point. And yes, you can get a C4 for absolutely the same price as what they're asking for the B4. So if the B4 is the same price as the C4, do not get the B4. Get the C4. That's going to be, if it's the same price like it is, that's going to be your best bang for your buck for an LG budget OLED. The C4 is absolutely a very, very good OLED TV to get. So that's the one I would recommend. But if you really, really do care for the best price and the best, TV out there for like the best type, you just cannot argue with this one once it loads up. The Samsung S90D. You just can't argue with that particular TV. The S90D QD OLED is just by far the best one out there. Like, if you don't want a big size, but like you just want if you do want a big size, but you just don't want like a super, super top of the line, or super big, I should say, the 65-inch S90D, as of right now with all TVs, this is the best bang for your buck. Like, $1,300 for a new type of TV tech that's still the newest tech out there, and that's going to give you best bright colors, have really nice gaming performance, and have like just all the gaming features that you want, and just give you the prettiest picture of all. That's my recommendation of the best TV for 2025. But if you want mini LED and you don't want OLED because you have hundreds, or I don't know why I said hundreds, but you got like several different windows in your room, you're going to want a mini LED instead of an OLED, because it's just going to be like more efficient for you, because it's going to be cheaper and it's just going to give you better brightness. But if you have just a select few windows, like 4, maybe 5, and they're not super, super big windows, a QD OLED is still going to be bright enough to overcome a good bit of the glare and such. But I've seen people report that they've gotten QD OLEDs with several different windows, and they've said that the TV has still been bright enough to see in a well-lit room. But if you just have a lot of windows, I just would recommend a mini LED. But if you want an OLED with your, windows and such that you have, a QD OLED is going to be better, or something even better yet, possibly an LG G5 or even last year G4, which I would recommend if the G4 is still available. But that is the TVs what you're going to be getting. So this is a regular LG traditional, Sony traditional OLED subpixel panel, and then this is a QD OLED subpixel panel, and this is a mini LED type of TV. And also as well, this is what a full array TV as well as a mini LED TV is basically with the local dimming zones that you get with them. You're definitely, if you had the option to choose between these, this is where I would absolutely pick a mini LED TV over a LG, or over a full array, I should say. But if you don't care, honestly, for some prices, these are definitely some of the best deals out there. So like if you want an 85-inch, that's honestly a good price, and it's still available as of right now. But if you want just a really nice premium but really budget affordable TV, then I would absolutely look at the 65-inch QM7. But if you definitely just want the best overall, and a 65-inch or 55-inch size is just perfect for you, these is definitely the best deal out there. For the newest tech out there, you can't beat $1,100 for a 55-inch S90D and $1,300 some dollars for a 65-inch S90D. But you also got an LG C4 if you just want an LG, if you're a brand loyalty, and then you have the Sony X90L for $900 if you're a Sony fan and you like Sony's processing, although the X90L is a full array and not a mini LED. But it's still a very good TV, especially because it is a Sony with Sony's processing, and it's still going to be very good with black levels and contrast. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this about TVs, of not buying a TV until you watch the video. So let us know in the comment section down below if you already own your TV and which brand and which model number do you have and which is it. If it's a mini LED, regular LG OLED, or a Samsung QD OLED, or a Sony QD OLED for an example, or if it's something like the Sony X90L full array, and how is your experience with your TV, and are you also a gamer and you appreciate your TV for gaming with the picture quality that you have, and just it doesn't look honestly really vibrant and colorful and whatnot. So you let us know in the comment section down below of which TV that you have, or let us know if this helped you decide on picking the right TV for you and which type that you was hoping for. So let us know in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and also be sure to hit that like button if you enjoy content like this. But without further ado, this is Tech and Gaming Reviews, so hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comment section of which TV you have and how good is it, and if this helped you decide on the TV of what to choose from. So rate, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.